When Meghan Markle posted her daughter's voice for the first time, it wasn't random, it wasn't casual, it was a textbook move straight out of the Narcissistic Playbook. The playbook where emotional props replace real connection. Timing is everything, and innocence becomes the ultimate shield. Today, we're breaking down exactly how the Narcissistic Playbook uses soft manipulation tactics that disarm you without confronting you, selective transparency to fake vulnerability, strategic timing, and how your own compassion is used as a tool against you. Once you see these patterns, you'll never fall for them again. Let's get into all of this, but before we begin, here's the intro. Welcome to Revealing the Narc. Join me as I highlight narcissistic traits in celebrities and public figures. Everything here is in my opinion and not professional advice. If you enjoy the analysis, please like and subscribe. Okay, so a quick note before we dive in. There is always a lot of speculation about Meghan's children, whether there's staging that's happening, and so much more, right? But the truth for today's video is that it doesn't even matter because in this narcissistic playbook, it's not about the child. It's about using children to garner empathy, to create relatability, and so on and so much. So, whether the children are real doesn't impact what we are talking about today because the goal is to manipulate public sentiment and reset control. And that's what we're going to talk about today. The reason we're talking about this today is because of an event that happened yesterday. So, Megan posted on her Instagram a video of her at home. And I'm going to read to you from the Telegraph article that talks about this incident or this video in particular. The title of this article is Watch Princess Lilibet Speak with American Accent in Meghan Video. The 3-year-old daughter of the Duchess of Sussex is growing up with a Californian twang. I think that means accent. So apologies, but I'm pretty sure that's what it means. This article was posted yesterday, and there's just a few things I want to highlight. I'm not going to play the video for you, but in the video, Megan is making jam or spread or preserve or whatever is being called today. And Megan asks her, "What do we think, Lily?" The article then says the princess replied in her American accent, "I think it's beautiful." To me, it's no accident that we heard Prince Louis's voice for the first time, according to this article in MSN, in his birthday video. So you can already see how the strategy is taking place. One of the things I noticed also is that the question is, what do we think? Not what do you think as an individual? It's what do we as a group think? This is the language of enmeshment. And by phrasing it this way, there's a blurring of the boundary between individual thought and group approval. It's teaching the child and reminding the audience that their opinions are merged. In narcissistic systems, enmeshment is when individual feelings aren't allowed, only shared feelings that reflect back on the leader. And here it's Megan. It's not about her real feelings. It's about reinforcing that we, meaning Megan's brand, finds it beautiful. If you have any thoughts on this, please share those in the comments. I'd love to hear if you see this also. I focus a lot on language because as I was growing up, the specific words that people used were critical, and this is why this is shouting out at me. Okay, so now that I've introduced you to the topic and the events that happened, I'm going to talk about 5 different things in this video. We're going to talk about emotional prompts, soft manipulation, selective transparency, strategic timing, and how we can continue sharpening our compassion and not losing it when we are around people like this. Okay, so spotting emotional props, because once you spot how these things can be used, you can protect yourself. In healthy relationships, privacy is consistent. It's about protecting the person. In narcissistic systems, privacy is selective. It's about protecting the image. Children, pets, family members, even health issues all become props when needed. The timing of these reveals tell you more than the words do. We heard just 2 weeks ago this story about the preeclampsia. We hadn't heard about that at all before. And there's so many examples of Megan doing this where things have happened so far in the past and then they're all of a sudden revealed to us. Actually, this got me thinking about what happened with Blake Lively at the Time 100 award ceremony. She gave a speech where she talked about the horrible thing that her mother has endured. And the thing she's talking about is exactly what Blake's character experienced in It Ends With Us, the movie that premiered almost a year ago. So, how come this event in Blake's life that clearly she is making out as something that heavily impacted her, why was this not mentioned then? Why is this being mentioned now? These are types of manipulations, and these are things that are emotional props that are being used to connect with people, and who knows for what other benefit to the revealer. So, going back to Megan and hearing her daughter's voice, this wasn't just shared randomly. She shared it during, I believe she's trying to do another brand pivot. She has a business launch struggle. We see the gaining popularity of Prince Louis and how we heard his voice just a couple of days ago. And what we're talking about here isn't just about Megan, it's about how manipulators everywhere weaponize innocence to rewrite the truth. And like I said earlier, they don't just use children. They can use pets, causes, health issues, so many things, anything innocent looking to win sympathy and dodge accountability. At the same time, children are the ultimate prop because in the narcissistic playbook, children exist to make the narcissist look nurturing. They exist to generate sympathy when the narcissist needs to be seen as the victim. They exist to validate the narcissist brand or fantasy life. It's not about the child, it's about the image the child helps create. And when you recognize the playbook, you stop falling for this setup in relationships, in workplaces, in friendships, and you spot it so much in public figures. Now, I wanted to put a checklist together so that you can see if you are being used as an emotional prop. There's going to be a couple of these that I'm going to show you throughout this video. And what I have done is I've also created a PDF document with all of these checklists, and I included some affirmations and some journaling prompts that I am making available to my YouTube members and my Patreon members. So all of this will be provided in a link, and I appreciate you all so much for supporting me. So let's go through this checklist. They highlight you publicly when it benefits their image. Your real needs are ignored unless they serve a story. Emotional reveals happen suspiciously during crises or brand launches. You're treated more like a symbol than a real person. Your privacy is pushed aside for their attention or sympathy. Saying no makes you feel guilty, selfish, or disloyal. Big emotional moments feel perfectly timed and not organic. And if you check three or more, this might be a sign that you are being used as an emotional prop rather than a real, respected individual. Also, I wanted to let you know, like, go ahead and screenshot this if this will help you, if this will be an easier way for you to have this handy if you ever want to go through it again. Okay, let's go to the next topic, recognizing soft manipulation. Manipulation isn't always loud. Sometimes it can be soft and sweet and subtle. This is when someone controls, pressures, or steers another person's emotions without using direct aggression, force, or obvious threats. So instead of yelling, demanding, or attacking, they charm you, they guilt you, they flatter you, or they use emotional moments to disarm you. It's emotional control wrapped in kindness, sadness, romance, humor, or vulnerability. It feels safe or sweet on the surface, but underneath, it pushes you to behave, feel, or choose in ways that serve them and not you. If you're only looking for the obvious red flags, things that are like glaring and in front of you, you might miss the moments that are designed to disarm you, the ones that make you feel guilty for questioning them. These are these soft manipulation tactics that can be used by narcissists and manipulative personalities. So, this brings us to one of the major tactics in the narcissistic playbook, using innocence as a shield. Because when backlash builds, when attention fades, when cracks start to show, narcissists reach for emotional armor. And nothing softens public criticism faster than innocence, especially the innocence of children. That's why sharing a sweet emotional moment like that of a child's voice isn't random, it's strategic. It serves to distract from current problems, to trigger public sympathy, to reframe the narrative from struggling businesswoman to loving mother. In the narcissistic playbook, the goal isn't authentic connection, it's an emotional reset, pulling the audience back in, shielding themselves behind someone too pure to criticize. And once you learn to spot this move, you'll recognize it everywhere, not just in selective. Here is a list, not a full comprehensive list, but some examples of these soft manipulations. The first is love bombing. At first, it feels overwhelmingly positive. There's affection, praise, and gifts, but it's used to create emotional debt fast. They could say something like, I gave you so much. Now you owe me loyalty, forgiveness, or compliance. Instead of earning trust naturally, it forces emotional closeness. The second one in this list is selective vulnerability. This looks open and honest, but is curated. They share just enough to trigger your empathy without risking real exposure. It builds one sided trust to make you lower your guard while they stay protected. The third is guilt tripping. Instead of directly demanding something, they make you feel guilty for setting boundaries, saying no, or prioritizing yourself. You self abandon to relieve the guilt, which is exactly what they wanted. Innocence shielding. This is when they use something universally sympathetic, a child, pet, illness, charity, to deflect criticism and reset emotional loyalty. You hesitate to question them because you don't want to seem cruel, even if the manipulation seems obvious. The next one is emotional timing. They don't argue facts or address problems. Instead, they drop emotional distractions, heartwarming stories, sad reveals at critical moments to shift focus and regain sympathy. There's charming deflection, so they joke, flatter, or charm their way out of accountability. Instead of addressing the issue seriously, they steer you toward laughter, flattery, or confusion so you forget your original concern. And finally, there's the poor me narrative. They paint themselves as perpetual victims. No matter what they did, it flips the emotional script, making you feel bad for confronting them, even when your concern was valid. I'm going to ask you all if this is a list that you want to keep handy with you, please go ahead and screenshot it, carry it with you. I think it's a pretty good reference to have on hand. I'm definitely going to be carrying it around. Okay, let's go to the next topic or lesson I wanted to talk about, and that's recognizing selective transparency. So, this is one of the most disarming tools in emotional manipulation because at first glance, it looks honest, it looks vulnerable, but it's actually a controlled reveal, carefully curated to show just enough to win your trust without ever surrendering true vulnerability. In the narcissistic playbook, selective transparency works like this. They share something that feels raw or intimate, but only when it benefits their image. They keep the truly messy, unfiltered parts of life completely hidden. They use carefully chosen, authentic moments to reset public sympathy or maintain emotional control. Megan sharing her daughter's voice wasn't about being real with the public. It was being strategic, offering a controlled glimpse into her private world at a moment when she desperately needs warmth, relatability, and nostalgia. Once you learn to spot this selective transparency, you stop confusing calculated openness for genuine vulnerability. You realize that not every candid moment is actually candid. You start protecting your trust, your energy, and your compassion more wisely. Here's another checklist about recognizing this selective transparency. They share vulnerable moments only when their reputation is under pressure. Personal reveals, they seem polished, curated, or conveniently timed. Emotional stories focus more on image management rather than real connection. The messy, painful, unflattering parts of their life stay hidden. You feel closer to them, but you realize you still know almost nothing real. Their openness often deflects from serious criticism or controversy. Okay, let's get into the next topic, decoding strategic timing. Because when you start noticing the moments that these things are dropping, you can protect your energy. When you realize that these emotional moments are time for maximum distraction, sympathy, or brand reset, you stop getting emotionally yanked around by every sad story, every humanizing moment, every orchestrated reveal. You stay grounded and you save yourself from emotional whiplash. And this is exactly what's being done here. In the narcissistic playbook, these humanizing moments are timed for maximum damage control and not for genuine sharing. And actually, I recognize how much this relates back to Blake Lively's speech. I'm going to say it again. Humanizing moments are timed for maximum damage control and not for genuine sharing. And finally, let's talk about sharpening compassion and not losing it. Your empathy is a gift and it deserves better than being weaponized against you. Narcissists truly count on good hearted people reacting emotionally. When you build awareness of these tactics, you don't lose your compassion, you sharpen it. You learn to give your empathy to people who deserve it, not just whoever demands it the loudest. Here's a list of ways to sharpen your compassion, and I'm making these I statements so that you read them out loud to yourself. These are affirmations. I give empathy based on someone's actions, not just their emotions. I recognize when a story pulls at my heart and pause before reacting. I stay grounded when others rush me to respond emotionally. I check, is this person taking responsibility or are they just seeking sympathy? I protect my energy by setting boundaries without guilt. I remind myself compassion is a gift and not a contract. So, in this video, we're using Megan as a tool to understand these concepts. We're learning together because I'm on this learning journey with you about life armor. These are skills that protect your peace, your energy, and your ability to spot real connection versus strategic performance. Remember, this isn't about celebrity drama. It's about learning to protect your peace, your energy, and your empathy so no one can hijack it ever again. I just want to remind you if you're one of my YouTube members or on Patreon, I created a special bonus for you. It's a full checklist of the things that we talked about, and it includes a couple of journaling prompts and some affirmations based on today's video. I'm going to be posting it as a link for a PDF that can be found on my Google Drive. I want to thank you all so much for listening. If this was interesting to you, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you'll know every time I drop a new video. Please share this video with other people. I know when I'm creating these videos, I'm learning so much. And I just feel like they're definitely helpful to me, and I hope that they're helpful to you. I want to thank you all so much for listening, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.